Okay. Good evening. Good evening. Hopefully, we're starting to jump on. It's 9:15. Another episode. Am I still a Christian? I tagged some folks, and I know people are gonna start coming on as they have time and are able. Um, 2 weeks goes by fast, man. I can't I can't tell you how you think you have time. You think you have time to get ready, and we're right back at it. So six episodes in. Am I still a Christian? Really excited. We had a handful of people participate in the poll this week, which I appreciate. That's exactly where we're going to start. We're beginning to get into some of the topics where I had kind of introed last week, where it might get a little tight. It might get a little uncomfortable for some, and that's okay. This is a safe place. This is a place where we can ask questions. This is a place where we can discuss openly. We can disagree without being disagreeable. As the great Dr. King had said, we can disagree without being violently disagreeable. And I believe that we can do that here. I believe that that is what is sorely missed in a lot of dialogue, is a willingness and a desire and a commitment to hear the other side, to give ear and to give way and to give space for competing views and various perspectives. And I think that if we can challenge ourselves to be a bit uncomfortable, if we can challenge ourselves to accept that we may be, our opinion may not be well rounded or well formed because we haven't considered other perspectives, then I think we can get to a place where we can really grow and we can really develop and progress. And that's what I want to do with this forum. That's what I believe we are building towards with this series, questioning myself, following me, joining me on this journey of evaluating, am I still a Christian? When I ask these kinds of questions, when I have this kind of conversation, am I still a Christian? Do I still align with, do I still identify with the teachings and the philosophy of Christ? And, I have come to a conclusion already, clearly. I think that's been communicated in some of the previous episodes, but it's important that I ask the question aloud because I know I'm not the only one wrestling with these ideas and with these thoughts. And so this week begins the initiation into I think some subject matter that will start to push the boundaries a little bit, and I think that's okay. I think that's okay because that's how we grow. So in the poll, you for those of you that participated, and everyone that participated in the poll got the question correct. I asked you to identify the source of a quote. I'll read the quote back to you. The quote was, "You do not do evil to those who do evil to you, but you deal with them with forgiveness and kindness." And that comes from the Prophet Mohammed as part of the Hadith. The Hadith is a collection of quotes that have been attributed to the Prophet, in addition to what was written kind of in the original text of the Quran. Another quote: "Never hate each other, never be jealous of each other, never boycott each other, always remain brothers unto each other." And this was one that I just thought was so powerful, and I'll be posting this on my page a little bit later on. The greatest jihad is to battle your own soul, to fight the evil within yourself. And I enjoy that so much because Christ talked about wrestling with your inner man. In fact, for those of you that know Holy Scripture, I believe Paul states that he has to crucify his flesh daily. He has to die daily in order to remain humble and remain modest and remain in line, in alignment with the teachings of Jesus. And so what do we do with this? Where do we go with this? Well, here's the takeaway, and I'll kind of cheat to the end a little bit. The takeaway is Christians don't have a monopoly on love. And for a long time, I'm not going to say that that's what I thought, but I certainly was of the opinion that we kind of cornered the market. And there is real, genuine love in all corners of the globe. Let me read something else to you. While many people consider sensory experience the real source of happiness, it is actually peace of mind. What destroys peace of mind is jealousy, hatred, anger, and fear. Kindness counters this, and through appropriate education, we can learn to tackle such emotions. Cultivating a close, warm-hearted feeling towards others puts the mind at ease. That's from the Dalai Lama from this year, from 2018. Love is everywhere, folks. Love is in every culture. It's in every corner of the globe. It's in every religion. It's in every belief system. Love is everywhere. We just have to be willing to look for it. We have to be willing to be okay with the reality that love is in more places than maybe we realize. Love exists even among those whom we might call enemies. Yeah, love is there too. And it is real love that drives out fear and anger. Retaliation doesn't do it. Retaliation feels good in the moment. And that's the real challenge. This is something that I had mentioned earlier on when we first started this journey together, that the real hard work of love is embracing those that would do you harm and trusting, believing, having faith enough to know that this universe is not hung on your ability to right every wrong and to balance the scales. It is not your responsibility to lash out or fight back at those that might take advantage of your willingness to express, show, and live a life committed to love. It's your responsibility to allow love to work through you and to work on you and to work in you and to work with you. That's your responsibility. It's not to be the judgment hand of the Lord. It is to be the warm embrace that God wants to wrap everyone in. See, that's why Christ had to go away. Remember, he told his disciples, I go, but I'm not going to leave you without a comfort. I have to go away. I have to go away so that my spirit can be poured out upon all mankind. That's the beauty of the life and the mission of Jesus. Was his purpose was to be that ultimate sacrifice so that through him we could learn to express real love. And we see it in different forms. Now, I have a system that I ascribe to. There is a system of belief that I believe is the way, but I am not so narrow-minded as to not recognize that there is beauty and love everywhere. And shame on anyone that thinks they have the only way to love. Love is everywhere, and it's a beautiful thing. And I am so grateful and I'm so excited that there are those of you that are willing to jump on board and spend a few minutes with us every couple of weeks, just being empowered and being renewed and pushing for a deeper and a stronger and a warmer connection. And I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled that there are people that are jumping on for the first time. I see my buddy Leo on. I think this is the first time that Leo has joined us live. So glad that he's on board. And I don't see my friend, but I have to give a special shout out to my friend, Pastor Joseph Seymour. He had tuned in last week, and he kind of called me, or 2 weeks ago, he kind of called me out because my wardrobe, I was a little bit out of uniform. For those of you that have been tuning in with some regularity, I was on the road and was a little bit, out of uniform. I wanted to make sure that I stayed consistent because I know that there's some of y'all that are looking forward to the every 2 weeks, and I thought it was more important to maintain the schedule than to necessarily have my required uniform. But Mr. Seymour, I'm back in uniform. Pastor Seymour, I'm back in uniform. So hopefully you appreciate that. And, I'm excited that Pastor Martha Roland of Casa de Gozo is on. And you know what, guys, there are some exciting things happening. I saw a live feed that Casa de Gozo had put out, and also a good friend of mine, Kimberly Oliver, back in Boston, does a live series that she calls Sanctified and Single, which is great, and she's getting a lot of energy and a lot of people involved in that. So there are exciting things happening. It's just a matter of looking and being open. And so one of the things I want to challenge us to do, we're going to take a step together. And I put a video up on my YouTube about this. And so if you haven't yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, I want to encourage you to go ahead and do that. All of these videos, the Am I Still a Christian episodes, are on there. There's a library on our channel of all these videos archived so that you can go back and view them again and maybe catch something that you might have missed. It's a much easier way to share the content through the YouTube channel. So I certainly want to encourage you to subscribe. I also want to encourage you that on the page, on the feed, you can get notifications for when I go live. And so I want to encourage you to do that right through your menu. You can get notified when I go live to share that. So I would encourage you to go ahead and do that. In addition, though, what I wanted to say specifically was our takeaway, our challenge, what I'm going to challenge us to do. Last month, I challenged us to focus on changing one person only, and that was ourselves. That we agreed part of real love is not seeking to change someone, but seeking to change ourselves, to make ourselves into the very best that we can be, and trust that the power of love will do all the transforming that needs to happen. So the next thing that I'm going to challenge us to do, and this is very specific, this is a very specific request. And again, I have a more detailed video on the YouTube page to walk you through it. But as we wrap up tonight, I want to challenge us to avoid using the term radical Muslim terrorist. And it's a term that gets used a lot in our media. It's become very mainstream, and I'm not okay with that, because terrorist and Muslim are not synonymous. True Islam is as much about love as Christianity. And what we've allowed to happen is we've allowed a fraction of a rogue sect to really turn the tables on our dialogue. And so I want us to get out of the habit of using that term radical Muslim terrorists. We don't refer to white supremacists as radical Christian terrorists. We don't refer to the Ku Klux Klan as a radical Christian sect. No, we call them what it is. And so when you're referring to the so-called Islamic State or ISIS, when you're referring to Al-Qaeda, when you're referring to Hamas, those are rogue sects that are operating on the fringes of a belief system. They are not Muslim terrorists. They're terrorists. The same way that skinheads are not Christian terrorists, they're terrorists. And so we're going to agree as a group, as a family, as a community, that we are not going to marginalize and punish our Muslim brothers and sisters that are as much about love as anyone on this stream, anyone that views this video. We're going to show them the same respect and the same love that they would show and embrace us with. I do have a couple of prayer requests before we wrap up. And if you have any prayer requests, please throw them up in the feed. My mother, Ruth Davis, has asked prayer, and we ask that you would please hold her up in prayer. She's waiting for some results to come back, and we believe God, and we believe the report that God has for us. I also want you to pray for one of the special miracle children that's a part of our More Than a Conquerors network, this young, precious child, Madison. I want you to pray for Madison tonight. She is in the midst of a very intensive, very severe heart surgery. And she's at Boston Children's Medical. I don't want to share any more detail. I want to respect the privacy of the family. But they are a part of our network. They're a part of our extended family. We do very much consider them to be part of the More Than the Conquerors team. And so we want you to pray for Madison. She goes by the nickname Birdie. She's just a precious jewel in the eyes of our Father. And I want you to take some time and pray for her as well. If there are other prayer requests out there, if you don't get a chance to squeeze them in as we wrap up now, please include them in the feed. Please continue to comment on the videos. Please continue to share the videos. I appreciate that. I think we at one point had almost tripled our audience tonight from a couple weeks ago. So I'm grateful for those of you that have jumped on and joined us loyally from the very beginning. And for those of you that jump on when you can, I also understand that everyone doesn't have an opportunity, doesn't have time to join us live, but you do watch the videos afterwards. You do share the videos. You do comment. So we appreciate that. We're building towards something, guys. We're working on something. I'm so grateful that you're a part of it. I'm so grateful that you're sharing and participating. And I want you to know from my family to yours, we love you. We appreciate you. We thank God for you. Remember, help us to spread the joy by sharing the love. Take care. Have a good night.